serendipity a wonderful thing? My father is going to appear in this story. My father played beautifully, not quite as beautifully as this, played the piano accordion. So, in honour of my father who's going to appear in the story, Yvonne, would you like to join me telling the story musically? Yeah? Okay. Wherever you want and however you want.
Okay.
As much as you like.
Okay.
And if you do it really well, we'll give you a plush hedgehog.
She wants the clown.
Oh, the clown, the clown. Okay, you're the clown.
You have to make the clown.
I can make fire come up in front of her and reel her. So, we're seeing this from above. Camera pans down over a tropical island in the middle of the Indian Ocean off the Maldivian archipelago. Tropical island, lush vegetation, surrounded by a beautiful white sand beach, and then on either side of the beach, 30 metres of exquisitely clear turquoise water over the shallow reef. As the reef shelves and falls into deeper water, the blues change from turquoise into royal blue and then navy blue as it gets deeper. Camera pans left, and further out to sea, a couple of 100 metres, is a boat anchored. Camera zooms deeper, and we see just off the reef a man breaststroking slowly towards the boat, and as he goes, turning circles. So, the great outdoors. I grew up in Australia, which has got to be the quintessential great outdoors. Now we know that term is not translatable. Not only do we have in Australia the great outdoors, we have great outdoors for which we pay a price. Namely that of all the creatures on the earth and swimming in the sea that can kill us, a very good many of them carry Australian passports. We have inland snakes. We have snakes. We have scorpions. And even the humble kangaroo can disembowel you with one kick. And then if you go out to sea, we've got box jellyfish. There's your clown, that's fantastic. We have irukandji. Whatever you want it to be. We have sea snakes. We have killer whales. And then, of course, we have the great white shark. Great white sharks play the villain role for human culture in general. And I think here of Sir David Attenborough walking along a cliff top in Australia, explaining that the great white shark is the most formidable of sea creatures, because in none other besides is the power to inflict injury so equally combined with the eagerness to accomplish it. But the great white shark plays an even more villainous role if you grow up with a father who earns his living as a deep sea fisherman and spearfisherman. I still remember the day that my father deigned to give me one of his old cast-off bazooka spearfishing guns. And a bazooka is the Rolls-Royce of aquatic weaponry. It stands about so high. There's a beautiful wooden barrel with the words bazooka imprinted in black and gold down the side. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I remember even more clearly the day I killed my first fish with a bazooka. There we are, suspended in the deeps, and I'm looking down the barrel, and I see the fish floating in the current. And I think, do I pull the trigger, or do I not? And I pull the trigger. And then the world explodes in flashes of silver as this shot fish flips and enters into its death throes. And then the moment as the spear passes through the fish, the blood billows out into the water. It's an incredibly exciting moment, but simultaneously an exquisitely sad moment, because you realise in that moment you have stepped across a line from which you cannot return. You are at that moment a predator, a hunter. You have become a killer. In that sense, you inhabit, or the great white shark inhabits, in spirit form at least, you, and you inhabit it. Now, it's not just that, but it's an invitation when you shoot your first fish for the great white shark to eat you, because when you're out deep at sea, when you shoot a fish, you don't return to shore with each fish. You stay out there and you pass the spear through the fish, and then you turn it around and you pass it back with a piece of twine, which you thread through the gills of the fish, and then you tie it onto your weight belt, and you keep swimming. And if you're having a successful hunt, you might shoot another 3 or 5 or 7 or 12 fish. And there you will be, swimming through the deeps with this Hawaiian skirt of bleeding fish tied to your waist. Now, if that's not an invitation for a great white shark to eat you, I don't know what is. Very fortunately, I never saw a great white shark, but my father did. He turned around in the water to be looking straight at the murderous grin, the terrifying, leering rictus of the great white shark. As the shark approached him, at the last moment it jinks and glides past him, and he looks straight into its prehistoric eye. And it still chills me to hear my father describe that moment. Son, its body was as big as a fucking car. And looking into that prehistoric eye, I saw something raw, brutal, ancient, and heartless, and I nearly shit myself. And those are the words we hear: shit myself, shit myself, shit myself, as the camera pans back to this Maldivian moment, as the camera pans back to this Maldivian moment. And pans back in. There I am, swimming breaststroke towards the boat. I'd been out on the reef, not a bazooka in sight, peacefully, calmly snorkeling. The sun from behind me was piercing the water and sending these beams of light into the water that play this kaleidoscope of beautiful blues and silvers. Tropical fish darting around behind me and underneath me. And then a sliver of silver in the periphery of my vision. And I too am looking into a prehistoric eye. And I know you want it to be a great white shark, and there's one person here who probably wants it to be an Aberdonian seal, but it was neither. It was a barracuda, which would have been fine except for the fact that the book I brought with me on this boat was this, Blue Meridian, The Search for the Great White Shark, in which we hear a description of the barracuda. This is a description by Valerie Taylor, a great white shark expert from Australia. When she encounters her barracuda, there was a stillness in the great silverfish that made him stand out stark and aloof. Down there everything moved, the water, the sand, the small fish. Even we moved, but not that barracuda. He just hung there, still as stone, watching and waiting. I had never seen so much power, so contained. 1 million generations of selective breeding had produced this perfect fish, and he seemed to know it. Which would have been fine again, had the next paragraph not begun, barracuda are considered as dangerous as sharks in most parts of the world. In that moment, I experienced a terrifying realization. I've gone from predator to prey, from the hunter to the hunted, and there is nothing I can do. I'm completely helpless. And in that moment, something primal about being prey spoke to me, and I knew, and I don't know how I knew, but I knew The only chance I had of not being attacked was to maintain eye contact with this barracuda. So I look him in the eye as he starts to circle me. Jaws opening and closing, sharp rows of teeth. And he circles as I get closer and closer and closer to the boat, and I circle with him, maintaining eye contact the whole way. It's a slow dance, sort of a waltz of death as I slowly close in on the boat. And I would love to tell you that when I see the ladder protruding, I very calmly, quietly, confidently ascend that ladder. But we've all seen Jaws, we've all seen that scene with the fisherman crawling onto the back of the boat and the shark approaching from behind. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. And that chomp as he bites the fish, as he bites the fisherman and falls off the back of the boat. We've all seen that. And that was the thought that was going through my mind as I flailed and clambered up onto that deck and flop onto the deck face down. Camera pans in for the last time. From above, man lies on deck. We see his head and the camera comes in really, really, really close, so close it almost penetrates the skull, and we can follow the inner monologue. Son, I nearly shit myself. Camera comes out from the head and we see the shoulders of the man with the beaded water glistening in the sun as the camera pans down the body slowly, slowly, slowly to the waistband of the board shorts. Even slower still. And you know what you see.